Planning a trip to Spain or Portugal, you're already off to a great start. These two countries we call home are full of beauty, history and incredible food. But let's be honest, it's very easy to get a few things wrong. We've seen it all, trying to do too much in too little time, underestimating distances, missing out on local experiences that make the trip unforgettable. In this video, we'll walk you through the most common mistakes travelers make when planning a trip to Spain and Portugal. And more importantly, how you can avoid them. Stick around because a few of these might just save your itinerary, your budget, and your sanity. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello and welcome to the channel where we want you to be happier traveling throughout the Iberian Peninsula with the help of our self-guided walking tours. If you can steer clear of these 13 mistakes, we really believe your trip to Spain or Portugal will be so much smoother and so much more fun. Let's dive right in. You know how it goes. You tell family, friends, or even strangers that you are going to Spain or Portugal, and they look at you like you've just wasted your plane ticket. Just one country. There's this weird pressure, especially with European travel, to cram in as many countries as possible. We once met travelers who had visited 30 cities in 30 days. Honestly, we're still recovering from the idea. Our mantra, you probably know, less is more. A slower trip with fewer stops can be so much richer. Visiting just Madrid and Toledo or Lisbon and Sintra in the same country might give you more depth, more memories and far less burnout than rushing through 10 cities in 5 countries. So the first mistake is this: don't fall into an inferiority complex. It is your trip, you don't have to impress anyone. If you love unpacking every day and spending half of your trip in transit, go for it. But make sure you're making decisions based on what you want, not on what someone else thinks your trip should look like. There are 24 hours in a day, and part of that time should be reserved for eating, sleeping, and ideally enjoying your trip. One of the most common mistakes we see is overloading the itinerary, trying to cram too many places and activities into too little time. The result are rushed, exhausting, and often frustrating travel experience. If you focus on quality over quantity, your trip is much more likely to be rewarding. Whenever we publish guides to places in Spain or Portugal, we always include our recommendation for the minimum time you should spend there. And trust us, when we say minimum, we mean just enough to scratch the surface. Also, beware of the since trap. It goes something like this: since I'm going to Lisbon, I might as well stop by Madrid. And since I'm in Madrid, I should probably see Barcelona and Valencia and Seville and maybe Zaragoza as well. That kind of thinking leads to a trip that's all movement and no moments. Be realistic with your time and don't forget to leave space for flexibility, rest, and unexpected discoveries. Well, I had to put on my Star Trek uniform for this one because it's time for a quick reality check. Teleportation does not exist. One of the most frequent planning mistakes we see is completely forgetting to factor in travel time between cities. Yesterday someone asked he wanted to do Madrid, Cordoba, Malaga on the same day by car. Well, it takes 6 hours to go from Madrid to Malaga and the time it will take you to find a parking space in Cordoba. That planning had no time accounted for getting from one place to the other. Moving between cities isn't just a line on a map, it's a chunk of your day. Even if, for example, you were taking a train from Lisbon to Porto, you will need to get up early, check out from your hotel, get transportation to the station, arrive early, spend around 3 hours on the train, get from the station to your hotel, check in, drop your bags. By the time you're ready to explore, half the day is gone, if not more. So don't just plan time in each destination. Always budget time to get there and move on afterward. Your itinerary should reflect real time, not science fiction. Here's a common scenario. You've overpacked your itinerary and now you are trying to squeeze every last minute out of it. So you book a train leaving Madrid at 7 a.m. to make the most of your day in Barcelona. Sounds productive, doesn't it? Until you realize it means waking up at 4 a.m. after barely sleeping, dragging yourself to the station and arriving in Barcelona quite tired. Sure, some superhumans might be fine on 3 hours of sleep, but most of us are not. And let's not forget, if you arrive early, chances are you won't be able to check into your accommodation until the afternoon. So now you're tired, cranky, and stuck wandering around with your luggage. Our advice: treat travel days as rest days. Book your train or bus at a reasonable hour, take your time, and once you arrive, enjoy a relaxed walk without rushing into sightseeing mode. The first impression of a new city should be enjoyable, not a sleep-deprived blur. A day trip is a simple idea, but it's one of the smartest travel moves you can make. It's a same-day excursion to a nearby destination where you explore, enjoy, and then return to sleep in the city you were. No hotel change, no suitcase juggling. And not having to switch accommodations, that's one of the easiest ways to optimize your itinerary. If you're visiting a hub city like Madrid, Barcelona, or Lisbon, you are in luck. They offer a fantastic range of worthwhile day trips. Instead of trying to see 4 cities in 1 week, visiting 2 cities and using day trips as extensions can lead to a much more rewarding experience. But here's the catch: don't overdo it. Barcelona is definitely not a valid day trip from Madrid, and Porto is not a reasonable day trip from Lisbon. Focus for your day trips on destinations that are truly manageable, places that lend themselves to being enjoyed at a relaxed pace in a single day, no stress. When you pack your itinerary so tightly that every minute is accounted for, you lose something really important: flexibility. Trains get delayed. It might pour rain just when you are about to explore the Alcázar in Seville. A rail strike in Portugal might wreak havoc on your plans. Or a private event might close a major attraction in Barcelona, throwing off your travel plans entirely. But if you've built in breathing room, if your itinerary allows for pauses and gaps or simply doing nothing, you open the door to something wonderful: spontaneity. And it is often those spontaneous moments, getting lost in the streets of Granada, lingering over a long lunch in a hidden Porto square, or stumbling into a local celebration in an inland village, that become the best memories of your trip. So plan wisely, but don't overplan. Leave space for the unexpected. Spain and Portugal will reward you for it. We've met many international travelers who feel a bit overwhelmed at the thought of planning their own trip abroad. The instinct is to hand everything over to a travel agent or stick to organized tours from start to finish. And while that's understandable, you should know that Spain and Portugal are 2 of the easiest and most rewarding countries in Europe for independent visitors. Public transportation is excellent. Both countries have well-connected train and bus networks, and getting from one city to another is usually straightforward. Most people working in hospitality have at least basic English, and you will find helpful and welcoming locals even if there is a language barrier. It is safe, it is walkable, and you will find clear signs and plenty of tourist infrastructure almost everywhere you go. Choosing to travel on your own gives you freedom. You get to decide when to wake up, what to visit, how long to stay, and when to slow down. You will connect more deeply with the places you visit and likely spend less money too. Guided tours can still be great, especially for certain monuments or specific contexts. But don't let fear keep you from experiencing Spain and Portugal on your own terms. You are more than capable of doing it. Spain and Portugal are countries of varied geography and dramatically different regional climates. One of the most common mistakes we see is not checking the weather patterns of the places you plan to visit and packing accordingly. For instance, Seville in summer is often unbearable for sightseeing, with temperatures routinely above 40 degrees, that's 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The same happens in the Alentejo region in Portugal, in cities like Évora and Beja, scorching hot during the summer with little shade. On the other hand, Galicia in the north can be rainy and even cool during that very same summer, and mountain regions like the Picos de Europa or Ceja da Estrela have very different conditions from the coastal cities. There is no such thing as Spain or Portugal climate. You need to check each region you are visiting and prepare for that specific environment. That means the right clothing, sun protection, proper footwear, and even your daily schedule should adapt to the climate you will encounter. And a special note if you are coming from the southern hemisphere, seasons are reversed. If you're planning a trip between June and August, remember you're coming into full Iberian summer, not winter. Likewise, a December visit will place you in midwinter with short days, chilly nights, and sometimes rain. All this may sound obvious, but every year we meet travelers from Brazil, Argentina, Australia, South Africa, caught off guard by this simple but crucial detail. Spain and Portugal are home to some of the most visited monuments in Europe, and access is often controlled by strict visitor quotas. In Spain, places like the Alhambra in Granada or the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona often sell out weeks, even months ahead of time. And in Portugal, the Pena Palace in Sintra is another prime example. Limited access, strict entry times, and a steady stream of visitors year-round. A huge planning mistake is assuming you can buy tickets when you arrive. Spoiler alert, you often cannot. You may find tickets sold out for the day or even the week. Show up without a pre-booked ticket and you might find yourself staring at the gates from the street. In many cases, buying online in advance is not only the smart option, it's the only option. Do your research, plan ahead, and wherever possible, buy directly from the official website to avoid overpriced resellers. We've said it before, when you overload your itinerary and pack every minute of your trip, you lose all flexibility. And that makes it much harder to deal with the endless list of things that can go wrong while traveling. And a major local festival might suddenly transform the city you are visiting completely. Take, for instance, Lisbon during the Festas de Santo Antonio in mid-June. The whole city turns into one big party, which means packed public transport, street closures, and difficult restaurant reservations. If you're not expecting it, it can be overwhelming and derail your plans. And obviously this doesn't just happen in Lisbon. In Porto, The Festa de São João on June 23rd is another huge celebration, with fireworks and thousands of people hitting the streets. Or think of Semana Santa Holy Week in cities like Seville or Malaga. Accommodations are scarce, streets closed for processions, and opening hours change. It is essential to plan around it. When you build space into your schedule, you open the door to changes and often to wonderful discoveries. But you also give yourself a buffer to deal with those surprise changes in rhythm that are so common in Spain and Portugal. In cities like Madrid, Lisbon, Barcelona or Porto, a rental car is more of a burden than a help. Parking is difficult and expensive, streets are narrow, and traffic can be stressful. Yet many travelers, out of instinct, book a car for the whole trip, thinking it will give them more freedom. Truth is, for most city-based travel, you don't need a car. Spain and Portugal have excellent train and bus networks, and even day trips are often better handled by public transport. Rent a car only if you are heading to the interior of the country, rural areas, the mountains, you are going to drive along the coast, or you are going to be visiting the islands. And if you do, remember, automatic cars are limited and sometimes more expensive. Book early. If you are coming from abroad, you might find eating hours in Spain and to a lesser extent Portugal a bit confusing at first. Let's clear this up. In Portugal, meal times are fairly standard. Lunch usually starts around midday and dinner between 7 and 8 p.m., which aligns closely with much of Europe and North America. So if you are used to eating around those times, you'll adapt quickly. But in Spain, everything shifts later. Lunch rarely starts before 1 p.m. and dinner at a local restaurant might not even begin until 9 p.m., especially in non-touristic destinations. Arriving at midday expecting to find a bustling lunch crowd will only get you an empty dining room and possibly a closed kitchen. This matters a lot when you are planning your sightseeing or trying to find a place to eat. Many kitchens in Spain operate on strict hours, and trying to grab lunch at midday or dinner at 6 p.m. will often mean you're stuck with fast food or restaurants that are only for tourists. Understanding and adapting to the local meal rhythm is key to having a smoother, tastier trip and one that doesn't leave you hungry in front of a closed restaurant. Let's wrap up the list with a classic and one of the most common mistakes we see. Almost daily, someone asks whether they can just buy their high-speed train tickets when they arrive in Spain. And the answer is yes, you can, but you probably should not. Tickets for high-speed trains in Spain work on a dynamic pricing system, much like airline tickets. The earlier you buy, the cheaper it is. The later you wait, the more expensive it gets, sometimes a lot more. If you buy well in advance and are lucky enough, you might score a seat from Madrid to Barcelona for under 20 euros. Wait until the last minute and you might pay 140 euros for the exact same seat. Or worse, find there are no seats left. So here's our advice. As soon as you finalize your itinerary, both those critical attractions tickets we mentioned earlier, book your high-speed train tickets right away too. It is one of the easiest ways to save money and stress during your trip. Tourism in Spain and Portugal is at a critical juncture. The number of visitors to both countries has grown so much that the experience is changing, and not always for the better. Crowds are now a common feature of many iconic sites. There are queues for everything, and a sense of calm discovery is increasingly harder to come by. That's why avoiding the mistakes we talked about in this video is more important than ever. Traveling smartly and consciously can make a huge difference, not just for your own experiences, but also for the places you visit and the people who live there. So, slow down, be kind to your future self. Prioritize quality over quantity. Give Spain and Portugal the time and space they deserve, and you will likely get something much richer in return. And if you found this helpful, don't miss, you can see that now on the screen, the other videos on our series on travel mistakes to avoid. It is on those videos we're waiting for you from now.